Good morning, Service Alliance community. Hope you all had a great weekend and you're starting your week off well. How are you, Jason?
Top of the morning to you. Got me a nice cup of Joe going on here.
Yep, got mine right here as always. You know
yours,
me.
Is your a cup of Mike or a cup of Joe?
Cup of Mike.
I got my mic right here.
Yeah.
Yep. Good morning.
I got mine. I brought mine this morning.
Well,
myself and I.
What's a couple of middle-aged guys going to talk about today?
Today we're talking about the silent killers of profit during the busy season.
The silent killers. Yeah.
Silent killers. There's a lot of them.
Well, that's what Beano is for. For those silent killers, Beano.
Nicely put.
Oh boy, yeah.
So today's episode, we're gonna
be one of those days.
Get into a topic that hits hard for many appliance repair businesses.
Silent killer.
You just crack yourself up.
Oh boy, yeah. I don't know why that hit me so hard just now.
I don't know either, but
oh wow.
Sometimes you hit a certain age and you just literally humor yourself.
Yeah.
Like you crack yourself up. It's like a little kid that can just sit in the corner and just entertain himself.
True.
It's like the circle of life.
It's a big, sometimes a complaint from my wife, you know.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, a lot of women complain that their husbands never listen to them. I'm proud to say I've never heard my wife say that.
You know what? I haven't either. I like it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Boy. All right. Shall we get into it?
We shall.
Okay.
So let's open in prayer.
Sounds good. I think we need it. So, oh, Father God, thank you for the businesses you've entrusted us with and for the opportunities you bring during the busy seasons and the slow seasons. Give us wisdom to steward our time, our energy, and resources well. Help us to lead with integrity, to be able to serve our teams and customers with excellence and prepare not just for today's work, but for the future that you're guiding us towards. And above all else, let people see your love through our actions. Amen.
Amen. All right. Today's verse, I'm going to pick one that's a good one that would relate to what we should all be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Proverbs 21:20. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but fools gulp theirs down.
True.
It's a reminder to save and steward resources during the seasons of abundance. The Bible speaks about this all over the place. You know, don't be wasteful when you're when things are good, right?
Yeah.
Store up for those times of famine.
Yep.
You know, it sucks, but that's what we got to do. I mean, we are in an industry that's literally feast or famine, but it doesn't have to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could literally be an industry of abundance all the time if you level it out and work it right.
Yeah.
So let's get into this sucker.
Yeah. The silent killers of profit. So the first one we're going to talk about is spinning like the boom will never end. I'm guilty of this one for sure. And I think everybody will agree that at some point in our life, we have just overspent because the money's coming in. We got that fatted calf we're ready to sacrifice. And then all of a sudden the slow season hits and we're like, oop, there goes our savings account. Oop, there goes my retirement plan. Oop, there goes, I got to sell this now just to make payroll. Anybody else ever been there?
Yep.
Yeah. Good morning, Eddie.
Lots of people that have been there.
Got Eddie tuning in. Yeah.
Morning, Eddie.
having a financial plan is a must, to a budget to stick by in the busy seasons and in the slow seasons. I'm getting side-eyed viewed here. Always cool to see deer in my yard, and my office is facing. I've got a wall of windows in my office, and there's a deer just walking across now. It's like, I don't usually see you guys out this early, so
Nice.
squirrel, nope, deer.
Oh dear,
That's a big one too. Yeah. Anyway, where's my crossbow?
yeah, right. No, I get the overspending thing. I've been there too. You get a little taste, of something that maybe you've never had before when you're a young business owner or a newer business owner.
Yeah.
And you start feeling it, right? Things were really, really good during COVID for the industry, and everybody was making money, and then it went away, and everyone expected it to stay. And they're like, what happened? What's going on? Why am I slow? You're not slow. Things normalized. So, maybe you started your business during COVID, and which was a great time to start a business and kick you off. But if you had never experienced what it was like before COVID, owning a business and running that same business, then you would not understand, what you needed to do, or project that out. So definitely you gotta look at forecasts and figure out a financial plan and plan. That's planning. Plan
for sure. My
next one is lifestyle creep. That overspending causes us to create a specific lifestyle that we don't want to leave behind.
Yeah. I've been there. You get into that. Hey, I've got this extra car, that extra car. We went through it just recently, and after the kids all moved out, it's like, we don't need this van anymore. We hardly ever take trips in it. And when we do, it's just usually a couple of us, maybe three at the most. So the car works just fine for this. It's better on gas too. So I've got my truck and my motorcycle. Shayna's got her car and her motorcycle. That's all we need. So yeah, you got to look at the extra stuff that you really, really don't need. Is it serving you, or is it just costing you? Having that extra van to run to vendor shows and to run to this, we don't need it. Truck just does fine. It can haul everything I need. We don't need a truck and a van. That's a good. Good morning, Andy Murrow, Egyptian Exterminating.
And it's just sitting there costing you insurance every single month.
Yep, that's for sure. Well, like this last, we got rid of 3 vehicles, turned it into one. And I shed $17,000 in debt and $828 a month in insurance and payments. Now,
wow, that's great.
You know what they say? Every $17,000 helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you got sitting around that's just costing you money, and it's taking away from your future, right? Your that time when things may slow down and you need that extra funds, right?
Now, guys, don't start looking around at your wife and kids thinking that that's what he means. Yeah. That is not what he's talking about.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't going there.
I know. You got to say it, because there are some people out there that look at their kids and think that, they're just sitting around costing me money.
My kids still cost me money, and they're not even living with me. They're all both married. So
yeah, they never stop costing you money.
Yeah.
So, all right. Another thing that you don't do is you don't set aside for the slow season. Mm-hmm. Just like we started out in that verse, you have to set aside funds for the slow season to get you through the slow season, so you can account for it. so you can, during the slow season, maybe ramp up your marketing a little bit more, ramp up your Google ads a little bit more to sustain you through that slow season, so that it kind of levels everything off.
Yeah. That's one thing we need to talk about someday. Google ads versus Facebook ads. Yeah, I'll write that one down. That'd make a good topic.
It would. We can definitely do it.
Yeah.
So create some seasonal reserves. You should create a separate account. If you're following like the profit first model, you could create different accounts for different things. And you should have a reserve account separate, maybe for seasonal slowdown time that you can pull from or reallocate funds to. A lot of times, if your bank allows you to set up multiple reserve accounts, most traditional banks don't allow it, but like we use Novo, and Novo allows us to set up all these different buckets, and it automatically allocates a certain percentage of every dollar that comes into the bank into those reserves.
Yeah.
And we don't touch that money. You know, it's literally saved and it's earmarked for other things,
earning interest. And I hate to say it, but the old school CDs, even if it may be 2, 3, 4% for 6 months, that's money during your busy season you could throw in there and earn a little percentage. Then when the slow season comes, you've earned a little bit on it, but definitely something to think about.
Yeah. Betterment.com has a great program. You earn 4 to 5% depending on what the interest is at the time.
Really?
I think now it's 4 something percent, but a year ago it was over 5. So
yeah, last CD I did, it was right at about 4%. So very cool.
That's the typical range now.
Yeah. Very cool.
So
check that one out.
Another thing is set a budget based on your slowest month. Look at your historical slowest months, and that's what you need to budget for. Everything else is going to be a bonus. But if you can't run during those lean times, you're not going to be able to run, a profitable business. So base everything on your slowest months. If for some reason in the future you never make it there, you know what? Bonus. That's the way it should be, right? But if you plan for the worst, hope for the best, you're going to be safe. And allocate profits weekly to future payroll and expenses. Take just a piece of that profit, put it away. That way you're never late on payroll. You've always got, your buffer, because you always have to pay taxes. You're going to have to pay payroll, and you're going to have to pay all those other expenses and maybe even some emergency funds that you're not expecting.
Oh, we got a long list of good ones today.
We do.
I think everybody knows this one is just being priced wrong, or not pricing for the chaos, right? So undercharging during those peak demand seasons. Now, I will say there are often times that you shouldn't be charging. This one I got to be careful with. So I'll just preface this. So we had a huge storm in our area back in 2009 called the May 8th storm. Everybody remembers it from this area. We had derecho come through. They call it an inland hurricane. Anyway, we had been using flat rate pricing for, at this point, 5 years. So our prices were standard, were set. And when this storm came through, I ended up having to go to 3 different states to buy up meter services and electrical panels and things, because we had this huge inrush. Like in a week and a half, we replaced 92 meter services. It was crazy.
Wow.
And we were around, I don't know, at that time, $1,800 to replace a meter service, full blown meter service. Well, I took our prices and just made them standard $1,500 a pop, because we were going in, getting it done quick, and then I was coming back. Well, we had a couple of people out of 92. We had 2 people complain about the pricing, and 2 of them turned us into the state's attorney. And I remember showing the state's attorney our pricing, flat rate pricing that we had been using, upfront pricing for 5 years, and how we actually lowered our prices to help the community surrounding us and give a little bit of a break. And he immediately threw out those cases like, yep, you've proven beyond a doubt. So pricing for chaos, and sometimes there's, all right, we got to give a little bit back, right? That was the best month we ever had in the history. I mean, even to date, after we closed down in 23, it was still the best month we ever had, because it wasn't just that. And this is where a lot of that follow-up comes from the chaos, is we got the meter service done. We went back after the power was restored, and I did a full inspection on the rest of the electrical system. We ended up selling a bunch of electrical panels off of that, surge protection off that, did some generators off of that. So it wasn't just the, hey, I'm going to help you out this one time. We got the follow-up work to it. So that's how we had the best month ever. So price for chaos, or not pricing for chaos, it's pricing accordingly to make sure that you're going to last. And sometimes you got to help out and give back too. My perspective.
But, yeah, most people would take it the other way and take advantage of that chaos.
Oh,
and jack up the prices, and do all the price gouging and stuff. So
yeah,
I definitely like the way you advise to do that. So
yeah, and especially on the back end, we was able to make it up and then some on the back end. So, but yeah, other aspects of that pricing for the chaos, you got to make sure you're budgeting. Your guys are not always going to be working an 8-hour shift and then they're done. Sometimes they're in an emergency situation, or they got to get called out on the weekend, and you're paying them overtime, right? Your fuel for your vehicles. There's just so much, so there's a lot to take into account whenever you're budgeting. Make sure you're going to survive the slow months and the busy months.
Right. And keeping the same rates as off season. Right. So, I mean, it's a seasonal industry. Let's face it. You have your couple of slow times a year, then you have your busy times in between.
Yeah. We hit on this one week or two ago about, keeping the same rates as off season. That could be like a big headache and be chaotic. And if you're slow and you're not getting calls, I've had a couple of calls, demos, and consultations with some companies the last couple of weeks. One of them's just like, man, I'm not getting calls in right now. I'm taking maybe a couple calls a week, and it's hurting. It's like, so are you charging a fee to go out? Yeah. What's your fee? X amount was the fee. Have you thought about waiving that just to get in front of them and then show them the value that you bring? Maybe that'll help. If you're not getting the calls, sometimes you got to lower your fee or waive your fee to get out there, and then show them the value of what I do. That's a really fine line though, because for a long time I preached, never waive your fee. But then the slow time came for me, and guess what I was doing? Waiving the fee. So you have to,
it's the exception, not the rule.
Yeah. You have to use judgment in that, right? If you get somebody that's just price shopping on the phone and it's like, let me come out for free. Are you just wasting your time at that point? You really got to use judgment with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can look at it as, all right, do you raise your rates during high demand months or peak days? No, you need to have your pricing set, and you need to adjust it in a justifiable way. All right. By knowing your numbers, make sure that you've got a tiered pricing strategy. We talked about all this stuff over the past 2 weeks. Make sure you audit, check your margins, and do it monthly or maybe every 2 months, because things do change quicker. You can't do this on a quarterly or 6-month basis. Especially annually. If you're doing it annually, you're really screwing yourself.
Yep. Yeah. I was about every 6 months checking our pricing, and then COVID hit, and it was like, I got to check this. Literally,
got to do this every couple of days.
Exactly. Yeah. I tell you, another profit killer is going to be just winging it with your scheduling. If you're not using some kind of scheduling platform and you're just like, pen and paper, I'll get to you when I get to you. Whew. If you're in the appliance world, I mean, it doesn't matter what sector you're in, appliance, electrical, plumbing. If you're using not mapping things and you're just, I mean, the inefficient routes can just kill your productivity. Many of you guys know this. And mapping, when we talk, with you all from my office help, mapping is very important. Being able to see a map, being able to zone, I've got technicians going into this area this day, and that's when I want to schedule. It's important because of the cost of fuel. They have a rising cost of fuel. And if you got techs running around here and there everywhere, they're not productive. They only get this short amount of time to being in somebody's house. Oh, my camera just moved, didn't it?
Yep.
I got a new camera, so this thing is, I forgot that it does this.
It's like, hello.
I wondered why my camera was out a while ago. Anyway, okay. That's crazy. So yeah, inefficient routes, definitely. Overloading your techs. What's Andy got to say here?
That was good. Just reading it and popping it up here. All right. Andy says, I changed how I go and do inspections, and I charge an inspection fee, usually around $85 to come out.
Yeah.
I don't use any hard sell tactics, and I don't need to because I'm getting paid something to be there. Yeah. I give my honest opinion. If they go with me for the job, I take the $85 off the price of the job. So essentially the inspection was free to them.
There you go. Yeah. So a lot of appliance repair companies are doing that, and it was odd for me, but then I just built my diagnostic fee, my evaluation fee into my diagnostic, and the diagnostic into a repair if need be. So yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what works for you, that you're not losing money and losing profit. That's for sure.
It's all about covering your ass, right? Just make sure you're covered.
Covering your assets. You're good, Mike. This is a family
covering
show.
Your assets.
Overloading your techs. Oh my gosh. Don't give them to. I still find this amazing. In the electrical world, I ran 2 to 3 calls a day. That's it. And in the appliance world, I'm hearing guys running 8 to 12 calls on average. I'm like, how the heck are you doing this? I don't understand it. I still don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a surefire way to get burned out.
Burned out 100%.
When you're doing that many calls, there's no flipping way that you're taking the time that you need to sell the jobs,
to build the value.
Like you're collecting a lot of service call fees at that point, and they're just walks
and no one trip complete.
Yeah, that tells me when I hear someone say, "Oh, I'm running 10, 12 calls a day." Yeah, what's your percentage of walks on those?
Yeah.
I'd really like to know that. And when I'm having that type of conversation with my clients, I can see it in their face.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, don't brag about how many you're doing. No. Show me your profit per call.
Yeah.
Show me what's your percentage of walks on that many calls a day.
First trip complete.
Yeah. I mean, some people can brag about all that and say, "Oh, we're busy," but are you busy repairing, or are you just busy driving?
Yeah.
And collecting that trip fee.
Another aspect of this part of the profit killers is I running 2 to 3 calls a day. I would schedule 2. And if I got time for a third one, we would move it from a different day. So there's a buffer to help keep your jobs, on track. Or, all right, I'm running 2 calls. I got these 2 calls taken care of. I can run a third one. So it gave me time. And even if an emergency call came in, for those triage calls, being able to get to those maybe in between my other 2 calls. So if you're running a lot of calls in one day, maybe take a step back and see if they're actually profitable. Because if they're not profitable, maybe you need to take a look at that again and run less calls and bring more value, right? And we'll talk about that.
Reevaluate why you're not profitable.
Yeah. So failing to capture that future revenue or to provide solutions, to slow down and build value. Every service call I went on, it was literally like the first 10 to 15 minutes was just understanding the customer and understanding them. Like I've said before, oftentimes it's fixing the customer, not necessarily fixing the problem, because they got screwed over by, Joe Schmo down the street. So you go in already with a big old balloon inflated that you got to try to deflate from somebody else that screwed them over, right? So as I mentioned before with the storm, being able to capture potential future revenue by, hey, while I'm here, once I get the power restored, I'm going to give you a free inspection to make sure that there wasn't anything else damaged from the storm. If there is, I'll give you some solutions and we'll talk about it and you'll approve anything before I move any further. So that was a huge part of that month of having an incredible revenue. So what are you doing to potentially capture that future revenue? As Andy's saying in the bug world, right? Maintenance, Andy's my bug guy. So Chris comes out, they do quarterly inspections for me and they spray. And if I got any issues in between, they come back and it's part of my maintenance plan with them. As an electrician, home protection plans is what I call them, maintenance agreements. Appliance repair companies are starting to do more and more service agreements. So what are you doing to be able to get back in the door, right? To capture that future revenue.
Letting one-time customers disappear.
Yeah.
That's a big thing.
What are you doing on the follow-up? I tell you what can help.
You should work to not have any one-time customers.
Yeah.
It's about the lifetime value of that customer.
I'll put a plug in here for Mom because my office manager can help with that follow-up and it's very easy, very affordable.
Yeah.
You can check out the link right here. Set up a demo with me.
Definitely a good thing to do. And it works. It works very well. Database reactivation, all that stuff definitely works.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example of this follow-up. We had roughly sent out, we did the home automation playbook just, I don't know, a month ago or so. We sent out 2,700 texts and emails. Out of those, we had about 70 people download the playbook, and about half of those signed up for a demo. And we had 13, 14 of those that actually signed up for my office manager. So was that worth my little bit of time to get that incorporated? Heck yeah. We reactivated, as Mike put it, that database. And now we've got people that are interacting with us on social media and other places because in our emails, we sent them links in the text. Hey, do a demo. There's things that you can do to reactivate that list. So if you haven't been utilizing that, that's definitely something you can utilize. Past emails, past text messaging, all that good stuff. But that's something we can help you out with. That's a whole nother conversation. I think we can go into marketing wise between me and you, Mike.
The bottom line is don't let your customers feel like you forgot about them, right?
100%.
Always stay in their face, because if they don't need you, they know someone that needs you.
Somebody else.
And if you're top of mind when they hear that someone else needs, a dryer fixed, then you're the guy. You're going to be the company that they're going to refer. So make sure you've got all that stuff in place, for your follow-ups.
Yeah. Customers feel forgotten when you're too busy to deal with them.
Yeah.
You got to nurture those clients. I'm telling you, I've got one guy that we go to church with that we've been talking with for quite a while, and he finally booked a demo. And he's been lagging on the onboarding a little bit. And so I saw him a Sunday at church. I'm like, all right, so we ready to get this ball rolling? And sure enough, this week we've got the ball rolling, and a lot of it was just waiting on him. So it's making sure you nurture those clients, right? That one client could be your next several $1,000 job,
or it could be that one client could be your next 10 clients.
Yeah. The referral,
100%. Right? So
100%.
All right. Our last point having no off-season plan while drowning in work. That's the biggest thing. Everybody gets so busy.
We're talking about vacation here or what?
That we forget to plan for when it's slow.
Yeah.
All right. So our downtime seasons, a lot of times you don't even think about the next year. You know, everybody's going like gangbusters.
Yeah.
You're not thinking about hiring, or maybe you are during the busy season. If you're scrambling to look for help, it's too late.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be doing that ahead of time or consistently, you know, filling that pipeline full of, you know, resumes so that you have someone in mind. You know, you've already maybe interviewed them, and let them know that, hey, I'm not ready now, but I will be if you're available.
Yeah.
I can reach out, and if you're available, you know, let's talk. There's always opportunity, but make those connections. Get a hiring funnel in place, get a, you know, some kind of a recruitment funnel in place, rather than hiring funnel, maybe a recruitment funnel. Do your marketing prep, the market for help, market for the, you know, the help that you need. If you're scaling or you have ambitions to scale, then you need to do that. Think about having offers for seasons that haven't hit yet. I mean, right now, we're halfway through the year. You should be thinking right now about Thanksgiving, Christmas, you know, all the holidays. You should definitely be thinking about all of that right now.
Yeah. I actually think you should be next year, right?
Yeah.
This time next year. What's June look like next year? If you don't have that 10-year, 5-year, 3-year, 1-year plan, at least start with what's next year at this time. What do I want it to look like? What do I need to budget for? Marketing. You know, you're thinking marketing a year out. What am I going to be doing next year in marketing? Believe it or not, those are very important things a year out from now. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, one of the coaching groups that I'm in, my coach just sent me yesterday. He wanted to know what my goals were. And he said, right in the document that he sent me, he's like, where do you want to be in 12 months from today? Yeah. And I was like, holy crap, I have to really think that far out. And I'm like, no, I should be thinking that far out. You know, it's like, do I want to think that far out? No, but I need to. Yeah. And it's like, okay, that's what's going to get me there where I want to be.
Yeah.
So
good,
you need to force yourself to do it.
Yeah. Some good key takeaways and wrapping up today. Your busy season is the most dangerous time to take your eyes off the profit. So don't take your eyes off of that profit. Don't confuse revenue with financial health. That's a good one. The businesses that thrive year round are the ones who plan during the peak for what's coming next. That's a good one. Choose one of the silent killers and address it this week. So if your wife says it's time to get Beano, they get Beano. Your future depends on what you do while you're busy. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, think about it this way. You're walking along, everything's great. And then you hit a crack in the sidewalk and you start to trip and fall. What's the first thing you do? You put your hands out. You know, when you're going down, you're putting your hands out so you can catch yourself. That's what you need to do when you're going into the slow season. Put your hands out so that you can land softly, catch yourself, and not slam into that concrete.
Yep.
But you're not going to do that instinctively, like if you tripped.
Yeah.
You have to work that mind muscle to be able to do it. So, definitely start thinking about the slow seasons. Start planning for them. Don't make mistakes like that, and you'll be better off for it.
100%.
All right.
We all have a great week, and we will see you next week.
Yes. This weekend, Saturday, if you're a mastermind or an all access member, our mastermind is about subjects that we've been talking about for the past 3 weeks, pricing your service. So it's going to be a good one. TK's leading it up, and he's going to have a lot of really good, insightful things to talk about, and all of the members that are in there share ideas, and we all learn from each other. So if you're an all access member, make sure you're there Saturday morning, and we'll see you next week.
Don't forget to pay the fee. The fee is free. Go like and subscribe and share my office help, Appliance Marketing Pro, Service Alliance Group, all on the social media and all that good stuff. Check us out. Appreciate it.
Have a good week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.